This is CNN.
A presidential pat on the back for troops who won back the streets of Los Angeles. A drop in unemployment bolsters belief in the economic recovery.
This is CNN's Prime News, taking the time to examine world events, issues, and newsmakers, with Bernard Shaw in Washington and Susan Rook in Atlanta.
Thanks for joining us. President Bush is back in Washington tonight after touring the Los Angeles riot rubble. He promised common sense solutions to the problems that fueled the rage on Los Angeles' streets last week. Housing Secretary Jack Kemp is calling for passage of a recovery package by July 4th. Keenly aware of past unfulfilled promises, many residents are not getting their hopes up. CNN's Ann McDermott reports.
The smoke has cleared and the streets are quiet now, but the fear, that lingers on.
My only concern is a bullet has no name on it, okay, and I'm staying in my house with my children.
Still, some found it a little reassuring to see President Bush walk through the rubble, to see presidential candidate Bill Clinton walk through the rubble. And some were appreciative of the president's pledge to pump $19 million into the community.
And I believe in policies that encourage entrepreneurship, increase investment, create jobs. And these form the heart of the agenda for economic opportunity.
Clinton said he liked the idea, too.
It sounded a lot like what I've been advocating for years in terms of going beyond the gridlock that has paralyzed the Democrats and Republicans and getting back to grassroots empowerment and free enterprise strategies in the inner cities.
But not everyone liked what they heard. Not everyone quite believed what they heard.
The president came here. The governor came here. They made very nice speeches. But the point is, well, whether we will have action on it.
It's just talk and talk. Because when will the action? When can I start back in business?
It's just talking and talking. There's nothing happening here. We all sit and wait. Nothing happened.
They're all politicians.
Politicians. All over the U.S., many people have lost confidence in professional politicians. But here in Los Angeles, some have special reason. In the wake of the Watts riots, money poured in and promises were made. Some were kept, but many here believe most were not.
There was some number that $500 and some million was spent since the Watts riot. I'd like to know where it went.
Again and again, people here say jobs are needed. People with jobs, they say, people who own something have nothing to gain by violence, while people with nothing have nothing to lose by it. And turning this situation around, most agree, will be the real test of any politician. Ann McDermott, CNN, Los Angeles.
While in Los Angeles today, President Bush thanks some men and women for what he called a heroic job well done. The president visited a fire station in South Central LA, the heart of the riot area. He told the firefighters and other public safety officers they restored a sense of civility to an otherwise very dangerous situation. The president also made an unscheduled visit to the hospital bedside of firefighter Scott Miller. Miller was shot while driving a fire truck the day the riot started. Miller still has a bullet in his throat. He can't talk. And then there's the story of the miracle baby of the riots. Baby Jessica was born with a bullet in her elbow. The stray bullet had pierced her mother's abdomen. Both are doing fine.
City officials and residents are asking the remaining hundreds of federal troops to continue patrolling the streets at least through the weekend. President Bush, who thanked National Guard troops today for their service, said through a spokesman that federal forces would remain on standby. For many guardsmen now keeping watch in South Central LA, this was once home. CNN's Charles Jaco reports on a sad homecoming.
It's a welcome break for Sergeant Joe Sanders, having time to read his Bible. Sanders has been on patrol duty in the area where the Los Angeles riots occurred, the same streets where he played as a kid and lived for years.
It's scary because you see the familiar sights, you see the people, you see those that you worked and played with, and it's for real, and you're thinking to yourself, this can't happen because this is America.
Specialist Terry Gooden feels the same way. For him, returning in uniform is a bitter homecoming.
It's kind of weird, you know, with your own people and things because, you know, you respect we're all human beings alike, and it's like you're just combating against one another. And it's it's not a good feeling at all.
You go down to King Boulevard and make a left.
Many of the thousands of California National Guardsmen called up for riot duty are from towns far away from Los Angeles, but many others patrolling the streets grew up in the housing projects of Watts or the houses of South Central L.A.
You kind of feel like you're marching into Los Angeles, your own neighborhood, when, you know, with the force that you'd march into an area like the Middle East or somewhere else. And coming into our community, no, I never want to see this again. No.
I'll be glad and so will you. I'll be glad and so will you.
It's just sad to come out here with, you know, armed and on guard on civilians, on your own people, your own countrymen. It's kind of hard, and it's sad. It really is.
The Guardsmen say the response from civilians has been overwhelmingly positive, with a few exceptions.
Someone was outraged that I was with the Guard, and for the most part, the people that lived there were happy about it.
All right, carry on. Yes, sir.
The question for these men is, what happens next? Many of the hometown Guardsmen who patrol these streets say they have one worry: what happens to the neighborhoods where they grew up after the Guard pulls out? Now that the streets are quieter, it's a thought debated here a good deal.
When we pull out of here, you never know what's going to happen.
Some people have the idea that once we leave, the gang bangers are going to come back in again.
They were saying, please don't leave. They're going to start up when you guys leave. You know, please stick around.
The Guard will leave someday soon, and whatever happens, most share the same thought.
I hope I never have to. I hope that when I leave here, I never have to come back in military clothing.
Charles Jaco, CNN, Los Angeles.
The U.S. unemployment rate has taken a different direction. We'll have details in a minute. Also coming up, the sentence is handed down for the fertility doctor who impregnated women with his own sperm. We'll see how some young people are putting the pain of urban poverty, isolation, and anxiety into pictures. And the space shuttle astronauts get ready for this weekend's big adventure. Stay tuned.
Prime News is brought to you by Saab and your local Saab dealers, who invite you to test drive a car, not a compromise.
Saab convertibles hail from Sweden, whose northernmost reaches lie within the Arctic Circle. Which is why Saabs are rugged, sure-footed on all surfaces, and provide a large weatherproof sanctuary with a driver's side airbag and anti-lock brakes. Which makes Saab one convertible that won't be under the weather, no matter what weather it's under.
I wear a partial, this lateral incisor.
I lost this. If you wear partials, you know what you've lost. But here's what you've really been missing. New Polidin for partials, with the power to clean the pearly part and the metal part in just 5 minutes. So get new Polidin for partials.
You scum! I never want to see you again. I hate soap scum like this, so I use X14 Soap Scum Remover. It's made to get rid of disgusting soap scum. So try X14 Soap Scum Remover.
The day may come when travelers don't care how much their luggage weighs. But for now, there's the Samsonite Lightweight. It's 25% lighter than the average soft-side suitcase. Because at least in the immediate future, the weight of the luggage you carry can still be a matter of some gravity. Samsonite, our strengths are legendary.
Shoot some slices, shoot some shreds, shoot some salad, 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 salad shooter.
Presto Salad Shooter Slicer Shredder. Point and shoot right where you want. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe, store anywhere.
Salad shooter.
Original, cordless, and professional salad shooter.
Tonight, former hostage Terry Anderson recounts his years of terror and torture. An American hero, with your phone calls tonight on Larry King Live, 9 Eastern on CNN.
For the first time in 9 months, the U.S. unemployment rate has gone down. The unemployment rate for April is 7.2%. The 0.1% decline translates into about 126,000 new jobs around the nation. At the bottom of this hour, Prime Issue takes a closer look at the U.S. economy. We'll also get some advice about making investments.
A prediction: Japan will bump the United States from its position as world economic leader. That prediction comes from Kenneth Cordes, a Canadian economist and expert on the Japanese economy. He says Japan will replace the United States as the world's largest manufacturer by the mid-1990s and as the world's largest economy by early next century. The reason, says Cordes, Japan's greater industrial investment.
This now is a story about an idea that the Founding Fathers did not put in the U.S. Constitution, but some people think it should be there now. CNN's Deborah Potter reports on the push for a balanced budget amendment.
It sounds like such a simple solution to get rid of the federal deficit, now almost $400 billion. Just make it unconstitutional and force the government to balance the budget.
What it says is that we now have to address the way we run this government differently than we have for the last 30 to 35 years.
The proposal's been around for more than a decade, but it's picked up steam in this election year with Congress under pressure from back home.
We have to manage our own budgets, so I think they should too.
For the amendment to take effect, it would have to be approved by a two-thirds vote of both houses of Congress. 3/4 of the states would then have to ratify it, a process that could take several years. But that process could be underway in a matter of months. Democrats, who have long opposed the idea, are now predicting it will pass both the House and Senate.
Our long-term threat is that we're not facing our economic problems, the deficit.
Supporters say the balanced budget amendment would free up resources that are now wasted by the government, spurring economic growth. But critics warn it could backfire.
If you're in the midst of a recession and what you do is simply cut federal spending and take that kind of demand out of the economy, you would have not a recession but a depression.
With so many jobs depending on federal money, there is real concern among some voters about the impact of a balanced budget amendment.
My husband is a retired farmer, and I wouldn't want him to cut the farm program.
I think they would cut in places that they shouldn't cut, and I think they would definitely not cut in some places that they should.
Many economists say the amendment is just a gimmick that won't solve the deficit problem. Some believe it will actually lead to more spending and higher taxes.
End of the year, when the money is all appropriated and out the door and gone, they'll say, Eureka, we have a deficit. We're not allowed to have a deficit. They would tell everybody, oh, it's awful. We don't want to raise your taxes, but the Constitution requires it.
Hard work is passing specific tax increases, specific spending cuts. That's the way the deficit is reduced, not by changing a few words in the Constitution.
And critics say what's really driving the amendment process is the politicians' desire to avoid that hard work for at least a few more years. Deborah Potter, CNN, Washington.
Public workers in Germany are back at their jobs. Trains are rolling closer to on-time schedules. Other forms of transportation and the postal system also are back in gear. And sanitation workers are picking up the garbage. Workers are expected to approve a pay increase of more than 5%. But more negotiations are looming for the government. Engineers and print industry workers are staging warning strikes for better pay.
Next on Prime News, the doctor who used his own sperm to inseminate his patients is sentenced for his fraud. And
if you are found without the blood of Jesus Christ, you will be cast alive into a lake of fire.
Does that sound ugly and unseemly? If it does, it's against the law in South Carolina. We'll explain.
Under terms of the joint venture, Phillips Petroleum will match the yearly contributions of the states of Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, and New Mexico. Ducks Unlimited will disperse these funds to secure, preserve, and enhance the migrating and vital breeding grounds of the Playa Lakes region.
Charlie. This commitment from Phillips Petroleum comes from the belief that some investments have far bigger returns than others.
What can I say, gentlemen? It was my day. Well, it's your day to buy, too.
Okay, you guys, we'll be right back. Go someplace special, okay? McDonald's. We're gonna have 6 Big Macs.
Yeah, 6 Big Macs. 4 quarter pounds with cheese.
Thank you, Michelle. Tomorrow, have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Did you go to that concert on Saturday?
No, I missed it, and I really did want to go. Well, here's your favorite seat. You go first.
No matter who you are, no matter what you do, what you want is food with the taste you love.
The Big Mac extra value meal, please.
What you need
is a break for your budget.
Where do you want to go? I only got a couple bucks.
What you deserve is to be treated the way you like to be treated. That's what you want. That's what you get. At McDonald's today.
Stain-resistant rugs resist most stains, but some are irresistible. That's why there's Woolite Tough Stain Rug Cleaner. It's tough on stains, but safe even on stain-resistant rugs. Trust Woolite Tough Stain.
For cleaning, shining, and disinfecting, nothing outperforms us in the bathroom. Dow Bathroom Cleaner, starring Scrubbing Bubbles. We work hard so you don't have to.
An infertility doctor has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for using his own sperm to inseminate women and for deceiving others into believing they were pregnant. CNN's Anthony Collins reports.
Pleading for a light sentence, infertility doctor Cecil Jacobson told the court he was sorry and that he had not intended to harm his patients. Jacobson was convicted on 52 counts of fraud and perjury for lying to patients while using his own sperm to impregnate them and tricking women who were not pregnant into thinking they were. Federal Judge James Kachera said he had received letters from victims expressing anguish that they had been used as human guinea pigs. The judge said Jacobson had caused cruel psychological injury. He sentenced him to 5 years in prison and a total of $116,800 in fines and victim compensation. Some of Jacobson's patients were on hand for the sentencing. Prosecutors alleged he may have fathered as many as 75 children.
Given the severe nature of this conduct, we believe that it was appropriate for the judge to give Dr. Jacobson a lengthy period of incarceration.
Jacobson, free on bail, avoided reporters afterward. His lawyer said Jacobson felt sad but was going to appeal.
Certainly Dr. Jacobson believes that he's spent his life trying to help couples to have healthy children. He's going to fight for his medicine, and he's going to continue to do that.
Jacobson's appeal process is expected to take about a year. If he loses, he would then begin serving his 5-year term at a minimum security prison. Anthony Collins, CNN, at the U.S. District Courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia.
An Irish bishop has apparently stepped down because of the alleged mother of his child spoke up. Roman Catholic Bishop Eamon Casey resigned Wednesday after allegations surfaced that he paid the woman more than $100,000 over 15 years, and negotiations to pay her more reportedly fell through. Annie Murphy of Connecticut claims her 17-year-old son Peter is Casey's child. She says she had an affair with Casey in Ireland, and she says he was angry at the news she was pregnant.
He told me that I was incapable of keeping a child, that I did not deserve this child, that this child was a mistake, and that through this adoption, my son, to this adoption of the child, that I would be cleansed. It was like I was Mary Magdalene in his life.
Casey is said to be in New York and hasn't commented publicly on the allegations.
In the tradition of the Sermon on the Mount, some who preach the Word of God see the world as their pulpit. But in one town, the competition for souls is getting fierce, and so is the noise. CNN's Pat Etheridge reports.
Stand before God, and the books were open. I want somebody to tell me, how loud can you be when you love God?
In Beaufort, South Carolina, loud enough to land you in jail.
They've got the power brokers that want to take away the rights of Christians. I've never seen a darker day in America than this day.
For months now, a chorus of street preachers converges in the heart of the tourist district, disrupting business.
There's a time and a place for this kind of thing, and this isn't the time. I'm shocked. I've never seen it before, and frankly, I don't know quite what's going on.
Extra hot dog! Even the hot dog hawkers find themselves outmatched.
Well, just look around. I mean, nobody wants to buy anything because everyone's more interested in them.
If you are found without the blood of Jesus Christ, you will be cast alive into a lake of fire.
Spreading the word has reached such a fever pitch, officials are strictly enforcing Beaufort's new and controversial loud and unseemly noise law.
Frankly, when they speak so loudly, You can't differentiate one word from another, except a piece here or a piece there. It is plain noise.
Never trusted the blood of Jesus Christ for the remission of sin.
Quiet right now. You're going to jail.
The arrests, more than 50 since October, are costing the taxpayers more than $15,000 in legal fees and overtime pay for police.
You are under arrest. I don't give a real. Amen. Place him under arrest. Suck an egg.
Police have had little success in silencing the shouts as the preachers plan an appeal in state court to what they say is a constitutional restriction to the right of free speech.
You can put cuss on the street, preacher, but you can't put cuss on the Word of God.
So for now, it sounds like, until their vocal cords wear out, the street preachers will keep on shouting. Pat Etheridge, CNN reporting.
The anti-nuclear activist who briefly shared a stage with Ronald Reagan faces trial in July. Today, Rick Springer pleaded innocent to charges arising from last month's incident in Las Vegas. He rushed the stage while Mr. Reagan was speaking, smashing a crystal statue. Flying glass struck Reagan in the head, but he wasn't injured. Springer says he wanted to call attention to nuclear weapons testing.
Alternatives to violence. That's what some experts say inner-city teenagers desperately need. CNN's Jeff Flock reports on a program in Kansas City, Kansas, where point and shoot has taken a whole new meaning.
Pictures from the front. Snapshots of life on the angry, but not always angry streets. These images of and by the young people who live here.
I got you!
It's called In Focus.
Get up close to the wheels. Use your flash.
The idea is to put a camera instead of a gun in the hands of inner-city kids. Lamont knows what both feel like.
When I used to get mad, I used to go out there, shoot somebody, steal their car.
Now he does his shooting through the lens.
And I just go out, get my camera, just start shooting away at everything.
The idea is not to make professional photographers.
It went all the way in.
But to make a difference.
I want you to make photographs of what this train yard means to you.
Make a safe place to express the feelings of the street.
Like, see the way the dirt is on there? It's like dirt. It didn't look good in your picture because it's black and white, like contrasting and stuff.
These are the sometimes mean streets of Kansas City, Kansas. They don't look as tough as New York or Chicago or Los Angeles, but they are. They are finding here that capturing the images of these mean streets somehow helps to put it all in focus.
It has for Jennifer. She was ordered into the program by a court, but you'd never know it.
When I get a good picture, I feel like I've accomplished something. I mean, it's like I took that picture, nobody else did. That's my picture, it belongs to me. And it's like a moment captured. It's a great feeling.
Then frame it the way you want. Okay.
Running In Focus, Gary Smith, ex-combat photographer. Perfect choice.
I'm encouraging these kids not to take pictures in crack houses. I don't want these kids getting killed. They don't know that much about photography enough yet, or life, to be able to do stuff like that.
But the young photographers don't seem to be worried about that. Brian, ordered here by the court too, is getting something the judge never would have guessed.
Just knowing I was able to succeed in something.
By the looks of it, there is a lot of success.
Hi, America.
I'm Jeff Flock, CNN, Kansas City, Kansas.
Still ahead on Prime News, a capital city suffering the ravages of an ethnic war. Violence in the former Yugoslav Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina showing no sign of letting up.
Princess Cruises. It's more than a cruise. It's the Love Boat.
To fight the effects of corrosion, the body of the Buick Regal has been built with two-side galvanized steel that goes beyond what most car makers use. Beyond Honda, beyond Toyota. In fact, all Buicks are warranted against outer body rust-through for 6 years or 100,000 miles. And that's a promise you don't have to take with a grain of salt.
American Airlines leads the way in bringing value back to business travel. With the Anytime Fare, save at least 38% off the full coach fare. Available on any domestic flight. Any day. Anytime you fly, with no advance purchase required. This is not a sale. It's part of a new way of doing business from American Airlines, bringing value back to air travel.
Tonight on Sports Tonight, would Larry Bird be ready to help the Celtics against the Cavs in the NBA playoffs? And would the Rangers receive more than a slap on the wrist for slashing the wrists of star Mario Lemieux? That in baseball, 11 Eastern tonight.
Thousands of democracy demonstrators in Bangkok, Thailand are gathered near the Grand Palace demanding the ouster of the Prime Minister. They've been rallying for 5 days, encouraged by the hunger strike of popular opposition leader Chamlang Shermong. Suchinda Krapanyun was the military commander until a military-backed majority coalition in parliament named him prime minister last month. Suchinda refuses to step down until parliament asks him to.
Iran has won another round in its attempt to retrieve property seized by the United States after the Tehran hostage crisis in 1979. An international tribunal ordered the United States to deliver millions in property it is impounding or compensate Iran for any losses. The items include a Stradivarius violin, fossils, and nuclear fuel, which the U.S. says won't be shipped due to a continuing arms embargo against Tehran. In Tehran, low voter turnout for parliamentary runoff elections. Despite pressure from hardliners, voters are expected to boost President Hashemi Rafsanjani's reform program. Moderates won most of the parliamentary seats in last month's election. Some reportedly cast ballots only to get necessary stamps on identification booklets for travel and college admission.
A changing of the guard in Yugoslavia. 40 communist military leaders are ousted, lessening the anti-secessionist movement within the Federal Army ranks. It is still unclear, though, how the reported shakeup will affect independence battles in the former Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina. In the capital city of Sarajevo, federally backed Serbs and Muslims are still fighting in the streets. Serbs are refusing to grant autonomy to Muslim and ethnic Croats.
Coming up on Prime News, are better times really around the corner? In our Prime issue, we will look at what's ahead and how to invest money now.
To explore American history, all you need is a map of Virginia. Route 460, Appomattox. Interstate 64, Monticello. In southeast of Richmond, down the same road, there's Colonial Williamsburg, Yorktown, and Jamestown. But now, if you like your history to go back even further, take Route 702. Left at the big tree, walk about 50 feet, and listen. Call for your free Virginia Vacation Guide.
Sold! Let's say you bought a painting. Let's say Van Gogh's sunflowers. Let's say you use the Discover card. You'd have a little money coming back. Because with the Discover card, every single charge earns an annual cashback bonus. Nice. It pays to discover the card that pays you back.
Prime News continues, followed by Larry King Live after this local commercial break. Next on CNN.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Blair. Winning 2 gold medals at the last Winter Olympics was the greatest thrill in my life. And I was really proud knowing that millions of Americans like you were cheering for me. Now you can show your support for our Summer Olympic team by sending a personal message and by signing a piece of the world's largest postcard to be assembled in our nation's capital. Stop by your local post office during U.S. Olympic Spirit Week, May 11th through the 17th. Your support can make Olympic dreams come true.
I don't know how to say, words, what's the word? It's not coming out right.
It's easier done than said.
Tell your mom you're thinking about her. Call 1-800-FLOWERS. Our name is our number. We'll deliver beautiful flowers anywhere to anyone, guaranteed. All you need is a credit card and a telephone for FTD service.
1-800-FLOWERS. Carol Lee speaking.
Yeah, if you would...
Call 1-800-FLOWERS to order now.
This is CNN.
Our prime issue tonight, investing in uncertain times. Today's figures showing a dip in the unemployment rate, just the latest in a series of confusing reports about our economy. Recent indicators have both raised and lowered hopes. Overall, the economy presents a very mixed picture. The good news is that the economy is growing again. The bad news is that many economists expect the recovery to be slow and fitful, affecting some parts of the country more than others and some industries more than others. The jobless rate is beginning to decline slowly. Some economists see it dropping very gradually through the end of the year.
Things are improving. I would scarcely argue, however, that we are anywhere back to normal. And while I do expect that to occur within some reasonable period in the future, we still have a way to go.
A possible sign that the worst is behind us came last week when it was reported that the economy overall grew at a 2% annual rate in the first 3 months of the year. That's the best performance in 3 years. Manufacturing appears to be leading the surge. Factory orders rose in March for the third straight month. A survey this week showed purchasing managers expect more growth. The auto industry also is showing signs of life. General Motors and Ford posted surprisingly good first quarter earnings, exceeding Wall Street estimates, although Chrysler may stay in the red this year. But while some retailers are doing a little better, consumers remain cautious. They are holding onto their wallets and purses and paying off past debts. In its Beige Book report this week, the Federal Reserve said the economy continues to be sluggish in the West and Northeast. And the Fed, which has been pushing interest rates down, is leery of inflation.
If the rate of CPI inflation would appear to stall out around 3% and then be back on a rising course, I think it would be a devastating blow to all that we've done.
Amid all this, the stock market is responding to the conflicting signals by rocking up and down, with the Dow reaching a record high one day, declining the next. So, with all this uncertainty, where should you invest your money now? With us to talk about that is Jordan Goodman, a senior reporter for Money Magazine. He joins us from our New York bureau. In addition to writing about Wall Street for Money, he writes 2 columns about investing and consumer issues. Where are you putting your bucks?
Well, I'm being diversified, but I'll tell you, stocks is where you're going to make the best return by far long term. You've got interest rates that have really fallen quite dramatically. I mean, the long-term Treasury is now about 8%, 7.9, something like that. So that's doing okay, but you're not going to get double-digit returns out of bonds right now. And if you're in the right kind of stocks, that's where you're going to make the most.
That was going to be my next question. High-tech, blue chips, pharmaceuticals, what?
There's been a big change in the market this year. 1991 was the year of the healthcare stock, and all the drug stocks and the biotech stocks were up 50, 60, 90%. And people said, wow, that's great. So they all jumped in at the beginning of 92, and they've been probably the worst performers so far in 1992. The best performers this year have been the so-called cyclical stocks, the ones that are most closely tied to the recovery of the economy. So instead of Merck going up, a good drug stock, you've had Ford, Alcoa, Allied Signal, Caterpillar Tractor, Goodyear. Those have been the stocks that have been going up the most because the market is telling you the economy is recovering.
Jordan, what's your read on this economy, this recession?
I think we're definitely out of the recession statistically. Now, it doesn't feel so great right now, but if you look at all the statistics, and we've had several, we had the unemployment report, of course, today. Not only did the unemployment rate come down from 7.3 to 7.2, but the number of new jobs created, 126,000, was much more than most analysts had been looking for. So you've had that. You've had the leading economic indicators. They were up very strongly. You've had housing sales, retail sales, car sales, a lot of areas where you're really seeing some strength that seems to be sustained.
We noted that people are holding on to their purses and their wallets. They're paying off their debts. That's not a bad thing for the American economy, is it?
Not at all. In fact, the consumer comfort poll that we do on a weekly basis has really been going up quite steadily. It bottomed at about what we call minus 50 in early February. Now it's up to minus 42. It's been steadily going up, and people are feeling better, not only about the present, but particularly about the future. They think things are getting better. And paying off debt is definitely a good idea, particularly because there's so high cost after taxes today. Remember, you're getting zero write-off for your consumer interest compared to as much as 100% even 5 years ago.
What about bonds? Municipals, otherwise?
Well, municipals have actually held up relatively well, and for people in high tax brackets, municipals make an awful lot of sense. You can get maybe 7% on a tax-free basis on a long-term municipal now, which means about the equivalent of 10% on a taxable investment. So that's really a pretty good investment. But it's for very conservative people who want income. You're never going to hit a home run with a municipal bond, but you can do quite well if you're doing a very conservative investment for income.
Why are so many people getting out of money markets?
Well, the yields are so low, they're really forcing people out to some extent. The yields on money market funds are now about 3.5%, and CDs are also under 4%. And this has caused a massive shift of money out of these kind of safe, riskless investments into the stocks and bonds we've been talking about. Just to give you a sense, for the first quarter of this year, roughly $70 billion, that's with a B, moved out of CDs and went into the stock and bond market. For all of 1991, something like $150 billion went out of CDs. This is the first year ever that money has moved out of CDs on a net basis.
What do you say to viewers who are listening very carefully to what you're saying? Viewers who say, I work hard for my money, I don't have $20,000 to invest, I've got maybe $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and I don't want to risk it.
Well, if there's a temperament involved. If you cannot risk any money, you should not. You should be able to take a risk that you feel comfortable with. But if you're going to do something that's riskless, you're going to get a very low return. And I think it's going to be very low over the 1990s. It's not just this year. Interest rates on particularly short-term investments like CDs and money funds are going to stay in the 3, 4, maybe as high as 5%. But after taxes, you're talking about a very, very low return. So in order to make your money work for you, you've got to learn to take a little bit of risk. Now, you don't have to go out and swing for the fences. You can buy some very conservative, either individual stocks or mutual funds, where you have a money manager working for you, and that's probably the way that most people should get into it.
So if you have a passbook savings account, according to you, the rest of the 90s, you can forget about interest rates going up.
That's right. You're going to get 2 to 3% on a passbook savings account. And although it is safe, and it's nice to get a little bit of money, after taxes and inflation, you're basically talking about a 0% return. So this is what's happening. A lot of people are saying, well, I can't take it anymore, and I've got to move to something riskier. And they're going to get a longer return that's better than they're just having it in the bank, which people have gotten so used to.
You were underscoring the stock market as a good place to go, but give us your view on these 3 factors. 1, a person on the verge of retiring. 2, young parents trying to save for a college education. And 3, a young person just beginning to make it in the job market.
Okay, well, first of all, somebody just nearing retirement should be getting more conservative, but not get totally conservative. What the biggest mistake people make just about at retirement is they've made some money by being aggressive, and then they say, oh, my life's about to stop. I'm going to go all into income. Well, what happens is inflation, even though it might be only 3%, does eat away at your returns. So they should have maybe half of their money, or maybe 60% in some kind of income-oriented investment, but still have some exposure to the stock market to have their capital grow over the long term. Now, as far as the parents with kids, they can be more aggressive, because for those kids to have education in 18 years or so, you're going to have more than the passbook savings is going to pay you. So you've got to have some aggressive growth stocks there. And for somebody just starting out, they've got their whole life ahead of them, and therefore they can be very aggressive with their money. You know, people usually say to me, I have only a small amount of money, so I don't want to lose it. Well, I say the opposite. If you're young, you don't have much to lose, and you've got a lot to gain, particularly when you have a long period of time, 20, 30 years before retirement. That's when you can really make some money.
Money Magazine's Jordan Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bernie.
Susan?
I learned a lot. Thank you. Still ahead on Prime News, emergency rooms, treating the victims of inner city crime. We will continue our series, Violence Out of Control.
It just opens up a whole world of opportunities.
Will change
everything, their outlook entirely on the market.
It is a state-of-the-art way to make money today.
It's helped me make a lot of money.
Introducing Investors Business Daily. It's the new voice in journalism, edited for America's business and investment community.
I've opened up Investors Business Daily, looked at a stock in there that had all the characteristics that I wanted, and bought the stock and made money.
Call this number today. Get 10 issues of Investors Business Daily, plus the audio cassette How to Make Money in Stocks, absolutely free.
Oh, well, for free. I mean, how could you refuse?
It's a no-lose proposition.
It's a heck of a tape.
Call now. The cassette and the issues, a $25 value, are yours free. A no-obligation sample of Investors Business Daily.
If the non-subscriber could get 10 free issues and Mr. O'Neill's tape free, it is worth doing.
How can you refuse something that's going to educate you, hopefully make you money, and you're going to give it to somebody? It's an invaluable asset.
You'll get business articles, graphs, and tables you won't find in the Wall Street Journal.
I consider the Investors Daily like a 3D newspaper about investments. The information pops out at you. It's very useful information. The Wall Street Journal is flat.
The paper provides information that obviously you can't get anywhere else.
It's very educational, very informative.
It is easy to read.
It gives me a broad overview of what's going on with corporate America.
It gives you a clearer direction of where the market is heading.
If you're in the world of business, you owe it to yourself to try this no-obligation, no-risk, no-strings offer, free.
I think it's a good offer.
I'd recommend it to anyone who is interested in keeping track of their investments, monitoring their investments, and looking for new growth opportunities.
I take it. I take it immediately.
I recommend it to anybody who has an interest in the stock market.
Call now. Get 10 free issues and the tape, a $25 value, free.
It's made me much more interested in the market. It's made me much more astute.
It's the only paper that has ever made me money. Serious money.
Without the Investors Daily, people are going to have a very difficult time being successful.
Red Cross officials say they are recalling blood products in 10 states as a precaution. They say donors had falsely tested HIV positive during initial screenings. When they gave blood again, donors tested negative, but failed to go through all the proper procedures. 93 units of blood are being recalled. Public health researchers are trying to fight violence with techniques used to combat medical epidemics. CNN medical correspondent Andrew Holtz examines whether their approach is working in the conclusion of his series, Violence Out of Control. We warn you again, there are some graphic scenes. Viewer discretion is advised.
Birthday to you. Ambulance, please go ahead. As he is still awake and alert.
These are the voices that violence in America threatens to silence.
Every single day, I go to the morgue and I see children and they have lots of bullet holes in their bodies or they have lots of stab wounds.
If these junior high school boys die before they become adults, the most likely reasons will be murder or suicide.
All these intellectual folks with all these brains and all these degrees don't have any idea what the deal is. They don't have any idea how to save your life. But you do.
Researchers seek answers to violence by seeking to know the people violence consumes. That journey toward knowledge has just begun, with the consensus that violence is more than a matter for police and prisons. It's a threat to life and health that can be studied, like cancer or heart disease.
And when we started doing this stuff, we would publish something and people would say, ho-hum, we'd never hear it. It was like dropping a rock into a well and not hearing anything. So it's good that people care about it.
Researchers draw a parallel to tobacco smoking. A deadly behavior that was once accepted is now shunned.
That same thing is true about violence, that it's a learned behavior and that it can be unlearned.
In Des Moines, Iowa, legislators recently met with researchers seeking guidance on what to do about violence.
We don't have as sound a basis for information that having a gun is more dangerous than not having a gun. I'm absolutely convinced that's so, but most of my colleagues are not.
To know what to do, researchers and policymakers must have clear vision, clear information on violent acts. And right here, it's happened again. Another shooting, another statistic.
As soon as police arrived at the scene, they started gathering information about the drive-by shooting of a young man.
We're going to have to take you in for an operation, you know that, right?
At the hospital, doctors gathered even more information about the patient and his wounds. But most or all of that information remains locked in individual files, out of the reach of researchers who need better data in order to draw a clear picture of the damage violence wreaks. Government files do show more than 50,000 lives lost each year to homicide and suicide in the United States. Researchers estimate there may be 100 times that many injured survivors, 5 million each year. But no one really knows for sure.
He gonna find one of his little buddies and he gonna get something to hurt Dad, or Dad gonna hurt him.
Efforts to treat violence are in their infancy.
I think that anyone who believes that we're going to have a major impact on firearm violence in less than 15 to 20 years is kidding themselves. But I want my children and my children's children to have a safer country to live in.
On Tasha Wilkins' first birthday, her guardians have that same wish. Someday her uncle may have to explain to her a world in which Tasha's mother was shot down just because she was standing on the wrong street corner.
And I think a lot of times about the other families who are going through the same thing I've gone through, or who will go through the same things in the future.
And the children, growing aware of the violence swirling around them, eroding the foundations of their lives.
Those children must be treated. Those children must be handled. They must be redirected. Those children must be helped.
Happy birthday to you.
For Tasha and all the other children, researchers wish to gain the insight and the wisdom to treat the disease of violence that seems out of control.
Happy birthday to you. Yay!
Andrew Holtz, CNN Medical News.
News from Medicine is brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb Company, makers of new Excedrin IB, the headache ibuprofen.
When we asked what's a strong name in headache relief, a lot of people said
Excedrin.
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 When we asked what's a strong medicine for pain, a lot of people said ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. Well, we put our heads together and came up with this solution for headache pain.
Excedrin.
Ibuprofen. Excedrin.
Ibuprofen.
Introducing Excedrin IB. Now an ibuprofen medicine from Excedrin. Ibuprofen relief for tough headaches. New Excedrin IB. The headache ibuprofen.
Saturday, playing the blame game after L.A. Plus, Ross Perot. Is this outsider really an insider? And an old friend pays a visit. Pat Buchanan takes a seat on CNN's Capital Gang. 7 p.m. Eastern, Saturday.
What if we could make all the clean air and water we need?
What if there was enough food for everyone?
What if we understood the aging process?
What if we cared so much about education we made the most of every mind?
What if research in space made life better on Earth?
We're helping to build Space Station Freedom, the next step in space exploration, and a new way to look at the home planet.
Car and Driver magazine declared its road manners are in the import vein, but comfort is better. And if you're wondering what else they have to say about the new Oldsmobile 88 Royale, call 1-800-332-OLDS. We'll send you their complete test drive evaluation on video cassette, free. Because when Car and Driver says the new 88 has hit the elusive style mark, it deserves more of your time than we can give it here. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
More than 8,000 Texas high school seniors may not graduate this spring because they failed standard assessment tests 4 times. Today, the Texas Board of Education reversed its decision to lower standards so 1,500 of them could graduate. The board approved the new standards yesterday, but then the board faced criticism from lawmakers, business people, and educators. Now, with a look at sports, let's go to Nick Charles in Atlanta.
The NHL today suspended New York Rangers center Adam Graves 4 games for slashing Pittsburgh Penguins star Mario Lemieux. Penguins general manager Craig Patrick voiced extreme disappointment with the league's ruling, which he felt was in essence a wrist slap for slashing the wrists of their superstar. Lemieux suffered a broken bone in his left hand and is expected to be lost for the rest of the series. Meanwhile, Graves, in contrast to his aggressive defense of his actions earlier in the week, was contrite and apologetic today following his 4-game suspension.
Because I did hurt Mario Lemieux, and I got a penalty, I've got to serve it. You know, you've got to stand by your actions, and you know, I didn't mean to hurt the guy, and I have hurt the guy, so I've got to face the penalty.
Lemieux was injured early in Game 2 of the series and didn't play in Game 3. Pittsburgh lost both games and trails in the series 2-1. Well, Wrigley Field, a ballpark that fits into a city where the Cubs jumped to a 5-0 lead over visiting Cincinnati. By the 7th, it was 5-3. The bases were full of Reds, and Glenn Braggs clears the bags with this shot off the ivy and into the place they call the Coffin Corner there. The 3-run double highlighted a 6-run 7th and propelled Cincinnati into its first lead. But the Cubs got the tying run to second in the 8th. Sammy Sosa laid one down, and relief pitcher Dwayne Henry butchered the pickup and then sent the throw sailing away, and the game's tied and headed to extra innings. We're in the 12th. The Reds unloaded. Freddie Benavides cracked a pinch 2-run double to key a 4-run inning and split the game wide open on a day at Wrigley Field when each team used 7 pitchers, and the Reds climbed out of a 5-0 hole to beat the Cubs. Well, most of practice for the May 24th Indy 500 was washed away by rain today. Based on the last 2 days of accidents, it was a blessing. The bad news today, though, happened in Formula One racing in Imola, Italy. Italian driver Riccardo Patrese spun off the track at full speed on a curve, smashed his Williams Renault into the barrier wall. Patrese suffered whiplash, bruises, and a light skull concussion. When the car finally stopped, he came out of the cockpit in an apparent state of shock. A driver following Patrese suggested that a suspension brake may have caused him to lose control and trigger the accident. Patrese said he felt bruised all over, but returned to the track wearing a neck brace and said he hoped to resume testing in a few days. Obviously, in a different car, though. Well, that's sports for now. See you at 11 o'clock with a full half hour, including NBA playoff action and the entire night in baseball. But now, Karen McGinnis and the weather and something about some desert madness in Arizona.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I've spent some time out in Arizona and have seen these big dust storms, and they can absolutely be blinding. Not only that, they're very destructive, but we have seen some big afternoon dust storms, the desert dust storm, which is now moving into the Phoenix area. It's moved across Tempe and Scottsdale with 45-mile-an-hour winds. These are orographic, meaning usually they come over the mountains there, and that's why the winds are so fierce and strong, and they pick up the dust, and it can absolutely be blinding. We've seen 60-mile-an-hour winds and afternoon thunderstorms. This has been the same scenario we've seen for the past several days. You get this moisture which is being funneled up into the Four Corners region and the Great Basin, and all the way from the Sierra Nevada through the Great Basin, through the Central Rockies, the Four Corners, and down across Texas and down into Mexico. We've seen the big afternoon thunderstorms. I just checked, in Yosemite for about the 3rd day in a row has seen those big storms as well. Well, it's been about the same weather picture across the eastern seaboard. That closed low continues to spin across the eastern seaboard, and now tonight across southern New Jersey, some localized flooding has been reported there. Let's bring you into some daytime high temperatures and one other word, and that is in North Carolina. Your temperatures gradually warm up into the 60s, so maybe Mount Pisgah won't see any more snowfall. Already 57 inches of snowfall has materialized there. Lots of cold air associated with this low pressure system that will be traveling up the eastern seaboard. San Antonio, look for 80 degrees. Chicago, pretty nice, 72. But still more rain for New York, but I think it's going to be mostly on the light side. However, drive carefully. San Francisco, a gorgeous day in 78. Salt Lake City, you could see some isolated showers or storms there, but cooler and breezy. It's going to be dramatically cooler in the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies. Temperatures here mostly in the 60s, and for the Cascades and the Siskiyous and the Olympics, the snow level's down around 3,000 to 4,000 feet. A little bit of snowfall. It's going to be heavy wet snow. If you're a hiker or backpacker, be aware of that. Saturday, let's take a look at your weather forecast. That area of low pressure, in fact, by Saturday morning may be a little bit further off the eastern seaboard, but still enough moisture here to continue to produce the rainfall. Nation's midsection looks fine, just a few isolated showers in the Four Corners. Saturday afternoon, that low pressure system now begins to move because we've got a frontal system which is slipping down from the north, and that may in fact kick it out. That's exactly what we need, so we don't have any more gray, rainy days like we've seen just about all week long. Sunday's weather picture for Mother's Day. It looks like a few more showers in through the west, the Great Basin, a few showers for the Pacific Northwest, and the Northeast and New England pick up showers as well. Now these forecasts for these cities. Have a great weekend. CNN's Prime News continues now with Susan.
Thank you, Karen. Still ahead on Prime News, the dress code today was casual, but the crew of the Space Shuttle Endeavour is ready to suit up for a busy week ahead in space. Stay tuned.
We'd like you to run MAL 13.
These days, I've got plenty of ways to spend money.
Mom, I need a check for my cheerleading outfit.
That's why I get all my family's glasses at Pearl's Eyebuys department.
Coach says I need a new pair of cleats.
See, Pearl's Eyebuys is a whole new department of great-looking glasses for one low price, including the lenses.
Hi, hon, I got your car out of the shop.
Yeah, thanks to Eyebuys, I've got money to burn.
Mom?
Eyebuys by Pearl, just in time for times like these.
You can saw logs at any hotel, but at Residence Inn, you can burn them too. Residence Inn by Marriott, the extended stay hotel. At Residence Inn, we've made room service available 24 hours a day. Residence Inn by Marriott, the extended stay hotel.
This is what Miracle Grow does for me.
I grew a prize-winning dahlia 14 inches wide.
Roses 8 inches across.
You'll never know what a great gardener you can be until you've used Miracle Grow.
It seems to me everybody's been using our pickup window to get Wendy's new salads, because we make them fresh every day. Like our taco salad, deluxe garden salad, and our new grilled chicken salad. But you can get them inside too.
It's Dave's Salad Days at Wendy's, inside and out.
On CNN tonight, hope for the have-nots or a burden for the haves? The People Bomb on World News. Later on Moneyline, businesses that are booming because of the riots. All tonight on CNN.
The crew of America's newest space shuttle, Endeavour, started loosening up today for a busy week ahead in space. The cockpit was a hectic place as the 6 men and 1 woman spent their first day in space checking equipment. Their focus today was on the spacesuits and the shuttle's cargo bay robotic arm. Plans on Sunday call for 1 astronaut to hang from the arm as he plucks a stranded communications satellite from orbit. They hope to repair it and then send it back into a useful orbit. Well, Bernie gets to blast off now. I have to stay in orbit. Thank you for joining us for Prime News. I'm Susan Rook in Atlanta. Have a nice weekend, Bernie.
Thank you, Susan. You too. I'm Bernard Shaw in Washington. Up next, Larry King Live. Larry, what's ahead?
A great hour, Bernie. Terry Anderson is our special guest. We'll include your phone calls. Don't go away. We're next.
Coming up, Larry King Live, followed by World News after a word from your local cable system here on CNN.
The folks at Baptist Hospital saved my life after my car crash. They were here for us when Dad had open heart surgery and when Arlene and I had our babies. My kids have had outpatient surgery here. No matter what our health care needs, 3 generations of Mandrell family have relied on Baptist. That's why I'm donating my time to say thank you, Baptist, for being here for all of us.
This was one of the toughest cases of my career. I just couldn't put the clues together. It all started when I got that phone call.
Nick, it's me. Don't forget tonight, 7:30. Bye.
Hello? And then this note. The whole thing made no sense to me, but it was making me hungry. I decided to take a break. Then it struck me like a side of beef. Oh, Charlie's, of course. It was staring me in the face all along. Then I looked up.
Well, hello, Nick. Right on time. I knew you wouldn't forget.
Who, me? Forget our date at O'Charlie's? Never.
Let Tommy Mohawk beautify your home with the top performer carpets from Mohawk. Backed by Tommy's 10-year total performance guarantee. Crafted in a rainbow of luxurious colors, featuring the state-of-the-art fiber technology of DuPont Stainmaster Extra Life, which resists stains and wear. It starts beautiful and stays beautiful. The top performer carpets, Mohawk beautifies your home. On sale now at the Floor Store, 2190 Nolensville Road.
Hello, I'm Glenda Gibbs, owner of Picture Frame Warehouse. Recently, a California manufacturer of picture frame molding needed to raise some quick cash. I bought these beautiful first quality moldings at a 30% discount.
Now we are passing these savings on to you while our supply lasts. This is a good time to save on custom picture framing.
3 locations: Sitco Drive at Harding Place, Myatt Drive at Gallatin Road in Rivergate, and White Bridge Road next to Rhodes Furniture.
This is CNN.
The beach bottom was great, and I was very happy to get out, but this is my homecoming. This is where my people are.
Welcome to Larry King Live from New York. Tonight, he spent nearly 7 years